finished off in the last video by flying forwards and doing a tight turn and then flying back the way we came. If you've fully mastered these tight laps and are able to easily fly around the map using the basics from video 1, then we can move on to the intermediate maneuvers. If not, keep practicing the basics, as we are really stepping up a notch in this second video. You must be competent in takeoffs, landings, flying forwards, flying backwards, slowing and stopping, yaw, roll banking, and tight turns. All of these were covered in video 1. Intermediate maneuvers are simply a different combination of yaw, pitch, roll, and the camera. I'll cover the main intermediate maneuvers in this video, namely sliding, targeted banks, 360 spins, and targeted slides. First, we need to cover the slide. This is when you move sideways but keep your nose pointing in the direction you started from. To slide, you roll and apply thrust, then add opposite yaw to keep the nose from swinging round. This allows you to slide sideways without changing where you're looking. As usual, get to a decent height, then thrust and roll left. But as you do so, gently push the right stick right to counter the ship's tendency to swing. 2 little right yaw, as I've done here, and the nose swings round a little. Now the same, but to the right, with more yaw. Roll right with the left stick, and yaw left with the right stick. This is a slide. Let's practice that again, but we'll change the scenery. Apply thrust and push left with the left stick, and at the same time counter with right yaw. That's right on the right stick. Notice we stay facing the horizon, but not the same point on the horizon. Roll right with the left stick and counter with a left yaw. Now let's take the turns, slides and banks we've learned over to this compound. Here we will combine them into combat maneuvers. Let's start with a more advanced slide, called the targeted slide. Start by pointing yourself at your target. I'm using the central building. Apply thrust and slide left, but use more counter yaw than in a normal slide, and occasionally center the left stick to swing the rear out and keep the nose pointed in. Keep moving between weak roll and strong counter yaw, and the neutral of the left stick to control where the nose points. This is tricky, so keep trying. As we covered in the basics, using thrust and roll allows you to fly forwards in a similar fashion to a winged aircraft. The ship will tilt slightly and you can fly at a high-speed bank. This is a useful way to turn without losing speed and for scouting a map. However, tightening this maneuver allows you to circle a target with one of your guns pointing down. This is a targeted bank maneuver. See how by tightening the bank, my gun is pointed at the center of this complex. This allows me to put fire down range at the same time keeping enough velocity to quickly move and evade incoming fire should the need arise. To do a targeted roll, thrust on and roll gently left with the left stick, while at the same time yaw left with the right stick. To tighten the turn, reduce the roll with the left stick. If it turns too tightly, reduce the yaw. You'll have to keep tweaking roll and yaw as you go round to maintain your bank. Keep circling your target to practice, but use U-turns to practice going in the other direction. U-turns have another function during targeted banking. Notice how during the turn your nose turret, if you're in an attack dropship, passes over the target. This will allow you as pilot to get a few shots with the nose turret should your turret and aim be superior to that of your gunners. It also will allow you to steal the kill from the gunner if you so choose. Practice target banking over a central structure and throw in some 360-degree spins to get you really comfortable with this combination of maneuvers. You should be able to do a 360 bank spin and end up still target banking in the same direction you were travelling without drifting away from the target. I often use 360 spins if my gunner's almost dead but hasn't noticed or hasn't changed seats. It throws off those targeting anyone in the gunner seats. To 360-degree spin, just release thrust, push both sticks fully in the same direction you were target banking, when you were pointing the right way, release the sticks and apply thrust to nullify most of the spin, then resume the bank with a balanced left roll and left yaw. Let's see some of these moves as they would be used in battle. Here's a slide being used to keep a gunner on target. And this is a targeted slide used to fire upon an enemy nest. Now this 360 seems a bit of an odd decision, so I'll take a moment to explain why such a strange manoeuvre was the correct choice. The target was running right to left under my nose as I was moving left to right. To slow my dropship, stop, then change direction and catch up would have taken too long. The quickest way to catch up is to keep turning and add a little bit of drift to where I thought he was going, which was up the stairs and to the right. And I was exactly right, and that's how it played out. I use a forward dive and then a U-turn here to do a surprise attack and turn back on my target. You may have noticed that we've been learning to maneuver in a single plane. That is, we've not been mixing height loss and height gain into the maneuvers. Practice the steps in lesson 1 and in this video, and we'll get to mixing in altitude changes in lesson 4. In lesson 3, we're going to step onto the battlefield and look at using pitch, roll and yaw skills at low altitude for takeoff and landings, tactical position, call-ins and recalls. These things are harder and more crucial than they sound. The ground is a very dangerous place, but being close to it leaves little margin for error, which is why we stayed up high to learn control.